What is up, party people? I'm pumped. It is Friday. God, it's gorgeous outside.
Too freaking cold.
Man, I tell you what, it's sweater weather, just enough sweater weather.
We need to move these studios south of I-10.
Like, what are you thinking?
As far south as possible.
You're like Palm Springs just for this time of year.
There we go. But not anywhere near Venezuela.
No, because it's about ready to get a little busier over there. Trump's like, we're coming. They're like, I don't know. That doesn't feel very constitutional, but whatever.
Let's not broadcast on a speedboat.
I know. They're not fishing when they got 9 engines. Oh, my Lord. Dude, the more that I research and talk to people about this gambling thing, is it so much worse.
So what do you think, man? I mean, you think it's like an onion? You just peel it and it just gets...
Absolutely. I want you to listen to this. This is a podcast from 2-3 years ago of a professional gambler talking about this game and naming Chauncey Billups.
Wow.
This must have been like 5 years ago, 2019-ish, I think, where there was this game. It started in L.A. and then it came to Vegas for a few days, and it was all built around Chauncey Billups.
All built around Chauncey.
Wow.
They are, and then he was also, by the sounds of it, giving out information on players, over-unders, as far as the. I mean, can you imagine? I think when they start peeling this thing back, I bet you there's more. There's guys in the league probably nervous AF. They're nervous They're more nervous than a tiny cat with a long tail and a room full of fat people and rocking chairs.
Where did you get that?
I think this is. Did you hear how they did it? How they cheated?
Yeah, it was very, very
X-ray tables,
X-ray tables, and wireless communications,
and glasses where they could see the markings on the card. Think about that.
That's Tony Soprano stuff, dude.
So this guy he's telling the story, and everybody's like, I'm going to go to this game. And he's like, I don't think you should go to this game.
And the person who told me about it was like, look, I know the game runners. I'm telling you 100% this game is on the up and up. And I was like, well, I know a lot of the people that are involved, and I'm telling you 100% that it is not. I had some friends who...
Everybody, they stole millions upon millions from people. And then, yesterday we were joking because somebody said something about the whole Prize Picks thing when I did one of the things. By the way, all of those companies are also victims because they paid out millions of dollars on basically insider trading. So they're the victims too. And the FBI said that yesterday. These guys, they kept their word, but these guys were cheating. But I want to know.
There's no way for them to get restitution, though, is there?
Yeah.
There is?
Yeah.
How?
Yeah. Well, they're whatever any of these people have, and they can go after Chauncey Billups or any of these guys. But think about this. I'm still trying to figure out how, on the betting side of the gambling, like if I'm a gambler, what do I care? Why do I want to go somewhere Chauncey Billups, a player from the 90s and early 2000s, wants me to go to? It was Chauncey Billups. Okay. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I want to know what kind of cut was that dude getting? I mean, because you're not giving him $2,500 to show up.
I mean, do you think he knew, or was he just making an appearance and getting paid for it?
No, I think he had to have known. That's what everybody kept saying. He had to have known that these guys, because there's no way. Think about this, because you're meeting people and you're bringing them. You couldn't think for a moment, man, I brought 50 people to these poker games and not one of them have ever won anything, and they lose all their money and they're destitute. Is it me, or I just picked bad poker players? Right? I mean, you had to have known. Like, how about the appearance every once in a while? Like, let somebody win every once in a while so it feels like the game's real. It's like if you're going to cheat on somebody's, don't write everything down the same on your paper. Mess up. Don't you guys ever learn that? And yeah, he had to have known, don't you think?
I don't know, man.
And then they brought LeBron into it as far as they were giving tips out about whether or not he was healthy, how he was feeling, how many minutes they thought he was going to play. He wasn't involved. But they're giving. I saw two people today. One on one of the Fox shows, and the other on ESPN. Both said that there's a chance you could see people say we need to get him out of the Hall of Fame.
Wow.
Like this is as big as Pete Rose.
Yeah, it's got all the markings.
Yeah, that's how ugly this is. I mean, it is not a good. But like you said, the sophistication of it.
Yeah, man. That's incredible.
You're not having X-ray tables to steal $5,000. The buy-ins must have been just through the roof. And and all these professional gamblers that were there who also lost said these guys had first of all, they had no idea what they were doing, some of these guys with all this money. They just wanted to hang out with the mob and some famous people. So they bought access. Little did they know that the access they bought was everything, at times they had.
It costing them, what was it? It was the average loss per game was like $200,000.
Can you believe that? And somebody must have took a friend who knew what they were doing and watched him lose, or he lost too, and he said, this game is rigged and it's fake. And we need to go to the FBI. And then they tied everything and then what ends up happening in that situation is you get somebody on the lower level who then snitches because they don't want to do 10 or 20 years in jail. So they're the minute first one in gets the best deal, and they're like, hey, you think this is big? We've been screwing the NBA for years. Check this out. We got guys in the NBA who are giving us the medical health reports of their players and other players. And one guy maybe even controlling the amount of minutes some people are playing. Therefore, they can bet the over-under.
Fascinating.
Ooh, going to get ugly. He had to fly. So he went yesterday, Chauncey. He had to go to court in Oregon, and then he had to fly to New York today. That's a double whammy. Double whammy. Yeah, it's going to be ugly. What's the weather like this weekend besides cold?
Like this?
Oh, it's not cold. It's gorgeous.
It's terrible.
Why is it terrible?
It's too cold. He's be in the 70s at night.
What's it? Well, I will say this. It did get down. I went out this morning because now my dogs are used. So normally they get up at 7. I do my show in the morning, and on a break, I run over to the other apartment from my studio/apartment. I would take them out to go to the bathroom at 7. I got up at 3 last night, as I normally do, slept in a little bit, because we're back in the main house, and now they want to go out at 3.
You got them in a brand new routine.
Mm-hmm. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Then to top it all off, one of the fire alarms starts beeping. It's all beep.
So many of your smoke detectors?
Yeah, the smoke detectors. Beep.
Oh, your battery's out.
Well, the battery's out. And I'm like, what the hell is that? Right? But we've moved everything, and the thing's like 10, 12 feet in the air, like a chair ain't getting there.
Yeah, you need a ladder.
Yeah, so this is the beauty of our night. So that's going off, right? Beep, beep, beep. My one dog, Red, he's also just a little guy. He's terrified of the noise. He's on our bed, and as God is my witness, I thought we were having an earthquake. He's just trembling in fear.
Oh, my.
And I'm like, this is not how I wanted to start my Friday.
No, sir.
No, sir. So, but I'm pumped, baby. So much.
Hey, don't forget, though, you did get to get a nap in today, and that's not normal.
No, that's not. I did a nap today. It's been a long time since I wandered over early. I was finished early enough to go take a quick nap for like 30, 40 minutes, and it was awesome. Those naps are the best thing when you can fall asleep in the day. I've always slept better in the daytime. Ever since I was a kid, I could sleep really well in the daytime.
Because that's when school was?
Probably. And because I was up all night usually, wandering around, doing something, saying something, messing around. Just because I didn't sleep. It's crazy. It is. So pumped. We got so much good stuff. Inflation numbers don't look very good. It's okay. It's early. It's early days.
Well, it was less than they were predicting, though, wasn't it?
One area was less. Overall, it's more. But it's not. Is the world coming to an end? No. But all these things are just what you look at is you look for patterns, right? What a pattern here, pattern there. Gas is up more than they want it to be, but overall still down from where it was a few years. And it's hard. I try not to compare anything to COVID because COVID was a once-in-a-lifetime thing. I'm 54. How many times have I been through that in my life? Zero outside of that. So you can't always say, well, it's that. So it's that's very interesting, the whole thing, because some people are going to react in a way that's crazy. Other people are going to be like, it's no big deal. I think it's something you watch, right? It's something you watch, especially during the government shutdown. Still shut down, right?
Still shut down.
Oh, okay, good.
I wonder if they're even there.
No, in fact, some of them are. Interesting thing, I was watching, was it Chris Saliza, who said, I've never seen, because normally during a shutdown, if you've ever been in D.C., everything is about the shutdown. There's never been anything like this where both sides seem to be completely, don't care right now. It's not a big deal. Isn't that strange? I mean, they don't seem to really, it's not their urgency that keeps happening that you would think that would be happening. These things normally, we can't get away from them the first weekend it happens. All they do is talk about it. And they don't really talk about it much right now. And I don't think Mike Johnson doesn't have him there. He doesn't. He's there.
Yeah, they're still in recess.
Yeah, he's there. But outside of that, most of them are all at home. And the Senate, they met a couple times, but I don't think they're around either.
If Johnson brings the House back, he's going to have to swear in that.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I don't think he really wants to do that.
What's her name? I can't
Grijalva? Adelaida Grijalva?
Arizona.
From Arizona? Everybody keeps going, hey, is there a reason you haven't done this? He's like, no. I'm like, really? Because of Epstein? No. I would never, ever. Well, maybe you didn't. Maybe you didn't. I'm just saying. Maybe you should swear her in because you can't tell her that she needs to help her constituents when she's not a congressperson yet. And they're suing. Arizona's suing Mike Johnson because there's things that she could do, but she can't. If she's not a congressperson, she has no authority at this moment in time to try to do anything. So it'll be very interesting. Plus, we got your Finally Friday sounds. Apparently, we're not talking to Canada anymore because they put out a Ronald Reagan commercial. Did you see it?
I haven't seen it.
Yeah. They put out a Ronald Reagan commercial about tariffs, and then Trump's like, I don't want to talk to you guys anymore. We're not friends. Oh, and this Miami has a mayor's race coming up, and it's one of those things where it's nonpartisan, so nobody really, we know you're a Democrat or Republican, but you want to talk about a white woman that's tone deaf who's running for mayor. She may take the cake to the point where she makes our good friend and yours, Kylie, of White Woman Wednesday, more aware about life than anybody else. It is spectacular. So we got that bunch of other good stuff on the way. Ha ha! Happy Friday, everybody! It's Chad Benson Show, Super Tough 997. So the Reagan Library said this. Apparently, they're upset about the way that they edited up the Ronald Reagan thing for the Canadian commercial, It's a 5-minute speech he gave, and they cut it down to like a minute or whatever. And Reagan was totally against trade barriers. He didn't like tariffs. He was mad at Democrats. He didn't want tariffs. They proposed tariffs. He didn't like that. He wanted free trade. That's what he was about. And they said the Ronald Reagan Foundation Institute claimed the government of Ontario didn't seek permission to use or edit his speech. Although nobody's sure if they're required to or not. So it's
we should invade anyway.
We should. Well, it's always Canada's fault. Isn't it? Who said that?
South Park. Blame Canada.
Blame Canada. Blame Canada, For sure. Those guys are the worst, I saw that Hakeem Jeffries just endorsed Mamdani, which socialist. He didn't want to do it because they're corporatist Democrats, totally different. But if you think that guy's a socialist, this lady takes the cake. Guys, she may be the winner of winners here. She's running to be mayor of Miami. Who do you think lives in Miami? Just out of curiosity. What's a big segment of their population?
Cuban, Latino.
Let's hear her. She's good times. Her name's Laura Anderson. She's very white.
You said something that really caught my attention. You said, So you're not a Republican, you're not a Democrat, so what party do you belong to?
I'm in the Socialist Workers' Party. And I was won over to joining the Socialist Workers' Party in the mid-90s, realizing this is the most working people having their own party, starting with a world perspective. Organizing all workers was the most effective way to advance working people's interests, to push back attacks on our cost of living, our unsafe conditions on the job, and to fight for things we need, drawing on history, revolutions, the civil rights movement.
Okay. So there's that, right? Okay, that all sounds good. You know, the usual kind of things. Well, we're drawing on this, that, and the other revolution. So want to go over this again. She is a woman, an American woman, crackery, very see-through almost. She could haunt a room is what I'm saying. She is running to be mayor of a city or an area, Miami-Dade, that has known to have had several residents come from a land called Cuba. Just want everybody to get that.
So when we were doing our research, looking you up for this interview, voters will be doing the same when they're going to the polls, looking for their next Miami mayor. They want to find out information about you, right? There was not a whole lot of information we could find on you, campaign websites. And we did find, Ballotpedia, you did answer some questions. One question in particular stood out to us. It was, who do you look up to and whose examples and why? And there was one person that you wrote, you mentioned Fidel Castro. Mm-hmm. Can you explain?
Sure. I went to Cuba more than 3 times.
Well, she went to Cuba 3 times. You get it, right? You've been to Cuba 3 times. You got it down. You've been to Cuba 3 times, ma'am? You've been there 3 times? Holy moly. How amazing is that?
Last time was in 2018 after Hurricane Maria. And I saw how workers are already living in the neighborhoods, for example, before the electricity went off. And they had the electricity up, even with a 6-year blockade. The revolution and the people who were changed from it were organizing to meet the needs of the people.
Okay. But you said Fidel Castro.
The guy that all those Cubans wanted to escape from.
Yeah, the guy who, by the way, those people right there, some of them, grandma and grandpa, they spent years in prison. They've been beaten. They were tortured. They got in a refrigerator with a motor and slowly motored away along with a whole bunch of you go back to the Havana, the boat lift or whatever, and they all left there and floated. And you're like, you know what? The guy who's running that country, that guy's got it going on.
So what do you say to the Cubans who live in Miami that cannot even stand to hear his name, that have lived through that?
I don't argue with people who aren't open to a discussion of how can we draw lessons from the Cuban Revolution.
Don't do it. That'd be lesson number 1. What do you think we should do? Not this.
If you want to have a discussion on that, then we'll have a discussion on that. How can we draw lessons from the Cuban Revolution that's in the interest of the working people here today? And I've stood next to people in the street here who don't support the Cuban Revolution, but they're against the economic blockade. There's coalitions in Miami that have mobilized around ending the blockade, and that is very important. We're for end the economic blockade. I'm against U.S. rearming in Puerto Rico, bombing ships in Venezuela. I'm for defending Israel's right to defend itself and defeating Hamas completely.
And again, this is Miami. I just want to go over this again. You're running in Miami. Very, very much an area where I've heard there's some Cubans. If you've ever been to Miami, it's little Havana. It's Cuba. It is. It's just everywhere. Venezuelans and Cubans everywhere. So that lady's asking the questions. Then the brother is asking the questions. He's like, "You're kidding, right?"
But those are national issues. But I can tell you, in a community that is made up mostly of Cuban Americans who had to flee Castro's regime, that's probably not a good way to win over their vote. Would you not argue?
Well, I would
for the city
tell you
of
this.
Miami?
This is what I get that question, not like that, but similar, like you're a socialist. How is that?
Correct.
How are people going to respond? Most working people, not just here in Miami, in the United States, they want to talk about the unemployment, the cost of living. Their son committed suicide. their neighbor lost their home.
Correct.
Their coworkers are disappearing on the job.
Okay.
Huge percent don't vote anymore, and they're sick of lesser evil politics. So they're not, and the doors aren't, people, maybe someone who, like you said, thinks the way, is vehemently against Fidel and doesn't want to have a discussion, okay, that's fine.
I don't think it's up for discussion, Ms. Anderson, in Miami or in Miami-Dade County. There is no doubt that for some that could be political suicide to talk about Castro and to say that he's your hero.
Oh, well, I disagree.
And that's why she won't win.
What's the old saying? Socialism, it's so great people build rafts out of garbage to get away from it.
That's it. Truth. Socialism. And you know what's funny? The socialist battle that's going on, because the numbers for socialism, and I bring this up because, first of all, because it's insane that anybody would think about that, right? Like talk about, well, I know I'm here in Havana, but I'm a big fan of Castro. That guy, he had it going on. No, come on. But the fact is, socialism is growing. It is. And it's not if, but when somebody's going to break through. Mondani's going to be the first one. And, we're a couple of weeks away from him being the mayor of New York. That's going to happen. I don't care if Sliwa, what's his name? Is it Sliwa?
Sliwa.
Yeah. By the way, I saw the argument he got into. That was actually the owner of the station.
So he walked out on the owner?
Yeah, and he said he's never coming back. So, but Sliwa is, what'd you say yesterday? Like, had that guy's run so many times, you figured he would run once, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's constantly been, ever since he became famous through the Guardian Angels, he has constantly had his hand in politics, and he's never won an election.
No, he's never won an election. And the reality is what Mondani is doing is very interesting, because he is absolutely hit on something. And it's when you think about it, it's the populism. It's the same thing that Trump did. Change the words a little bit, but a lot of it's the same thing that Trump has done. He hit the populism. He hit the affordability. He talked about the A word is the word when it comes to politics, affordability. If you can't afford stuff, life looks different, you think different, and you may eventually vote different. And he's coming at it in that way. And when you go and look at the numbers, especially amongst the Democrats, it's climbing. The good news is amongst the independents, socialism's dropping, and they compare that a lot to capitalism. And look, our capitalism, we all want free markets. We all want that. Our capitalism is at the point now, it's a lot more crony capitalism than anything else. I mean, there's way too much money being thrown around. Power courts money, money courts power. I mean, all you have to do is look at did you see the donor list for the ballroom? They didn't ask everybody, would have been nice if you'd have just asked everybody to pitch in $1, right? So all of us could have had our name on that thing, because that's the people's house. That's what that's supposed to be. It doesn't feel like it. It feels like it's a corporate lounge at a football stadium. So our capitalism's kind of gone very crony. We still have free market, but not the way I would like it. I think a lot of people would. But socialism because of affordability. Now, New York is different than everywhere else, but people are paying attention to that, especially the young who outnumber the old. The young are here, and they're frustrated. And they look around and they see something like China, where they've got that capitalism, where people can get rich, where people have stuff, and they don't look like they're worried about their next meal or whether or not they're going to pay their bills. Now, they're sold the best parts of everything, but you can understand why that word is not terrifying for a lot of young people. Us, who lived through the Cold War, who understood what real socialism and communism looked like. Because everybody always talks about the Scandinavians. That's free market capitalism with high taxes. That's all that is.
They're giant welfare states that they can afford because largely us and NATO are covering their butts.
Yeah.
They don't have to have giant defense budgets.
No. Plus, for a long time, nobody goes, hey, you know what would be really good if we just took over Denmark. But that's all they are. They have, the things that we have here, you think that we, they don't have a death tax. There's a lot of things. They don't have all these things that you think, oh, this is socialism. Sweden tried socialism in the 70s and early 80s, and it destroyed their country. Like real, true, like central planning socialism. Sweden tried it. It failed. They'll never do that again. But they have a high tax state, and everybody participates. That's the other side of it. Everybody participates, and it's very, it's one of those countries or these countries, these areas where you really don't have, you do have wealthy people, but everybody's a part of the program. They're all pulling in the same way. What they talk about, this world of socialism, it's like, how can we trickle down and keep the poor happy? And a lot of people think it's what you see with Maduro. So this will be interesting as socialism continues to grow. And New York, you're going to get what you wanted. I don't think he's going to get much done, partially because he's also going up against a city council that's not going to let him get a lot done, who are all old corporatists as well. But it's not going anywhere. And that noise, that S, get to the happiness study next
you're going to start to hear it more and more.
Coming up, by the way, how many
Apparently they found out
this after a 6-year study
how you get to
nearly
happiness.
a quarter of Americans. This is what I hear.
It's not
didn't
that
take
hard.
any of their vacation
We'll find out if we can
days
get there
this year so far.
after this. Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7.
Not me.
Nearly a quarter of Americans. When I saw Dan yesterday, he goes, well, last year I left so many vacation days on the, out there. I'm not going to do that again. I said, dude, you worked overnight. You weirdo.
That's Dan's vacation.
That is. So
I'm not sure Dan actually gets the concept of what a vacation is supposed to mean.
It takes me a day or two to get into that mode because I'm always go, go, go.
Yeah, you're always redlining, dude.
So it takes me a day or two where I don't feel kind of weird. Like I should be doing something. And usually by like
sleeping?
Yeah, like I'll take a nap and I'm saying like, so what do people normally do during the day? It's just stuff going on. I mean, am I supposed to, because it's an odd thing because I'm always going. And because I have 2 jobs, I got a lot of vacation. I haven't used barely any of my vacation days this year.
I think you've only been gone. I don't even think you've been gone an entire week.
No, I'm not even close. In fact, the days I've taken are, I took one day, for Charlie's birthday, and then 4th of July, we got one day off because of the holiday, and then I took one day. So I didn't take any, I think I've taken 4 days maybe. God, I got to fix that.
Yes, you do.
Fix that, baby. Fix that. Oh, man. Coming up. We're sending another carrier to Venezuela's area. Feels like it's going to get spicy soon. Talk about that, among other things, straight ahead. Hour number 2 of the program. This is the Chad Benson Show.